purple smoke up in the sky. Pretty soon you're going to fly. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where I'm gonna go when the volcano blows. You might real quickly say to me, Mom, you better watch your feet. Lava come down soft and hot. You loving me now or loving me not? Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where I'm gonna go when the volcano comes. Oh, no time to count for what it's worth. 'Cause I just left this planet Earth. Where I go, I hope there's rum. I know there's gonna be a lot on the island tomorrow. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where I'm gonna go when the volcano blows. Well, I don't wanna land in New York City. I wanna land in no Mexico. Don't wanna land no 3 Mile Island. Don't wanna see my skin afloat. Don't wanna land Comanche, Skyport, or in Nashville, Tennessee. Don't wanna land no San Juan Airport or the Yukon Territory. Don't wanna land no San Diego. Don't wanna land no Buzzards Bay. Don't wanna land no Iota. I got nothing more to say. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where I'm gonna go when the volcano blows. No, 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 no.
All right, happy Thursday night. It's Wes Solder with Preserve Navarre Live, and Father Kelly is in the house. Hey, sir. So glad to have you.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So we've been working to have Father Kelly on the show now for a few weeks, and we are absolutely thrilled. So this is going to be an awesome show. Looks like we've got about 20 folks that have joined on. So this is a live show, so you can comment. We'll be happy to take your comments and put them on the show. So let me know if the sound is coming through, if the video quality is good. But we're excited. Looks like Nancy's jumped on already. She says the sound is good. So I can drag these comments here just like this and bring them up. And that's really what makes the show a lot of fun, is being able to talk to people live and interact with them and get their thoughts and questions. So as we go through it and we talk to Father Kelly about St Sylvester Church and all the amazing things he's doing, feel free, drop in comments, thoughts, questions, all that stuff. We'll be happy to go through it. But this is a lot of fun doing this every Thursday night, Father. We've had people all throughout Navarre and the Panhandle on this thing. We get to talk to them. We get to hear about what they're doing in the community, celebrate them. It's just a great time.
Well, I appreciate you inviting me.
Yeah,
I look forward to it.
Absolutely. And we've known each other for a while. I mean, we've been doing events in St. Sylvester for, I think now years at this point.
We're happy to host Preserve Navarre in our parish center.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. So we're going to talk about all that stuff. Looks like we got Rachel's on here, says, good evening, Father. She's on here. Awesome. So, yeah, if you're watching live, let me know. I'll be happy to bring your comments up. But, I was kind of introducing you to the studio that we've got here right down the street from the church. And what allows us to do this is we've got a couple sponsors that are behind the show that finance it and allow us to have this equipment. And I always love to give a few of them a shout out. And I think you know several of these, so we'll go through it. But the Panhandle Shop, this was our first sponsor that we ever got.
Wonderful.
It's Tom and Helen Tuttle. They tend to watch every week, and they create these beautiful American flags. And you can see one right in here in the studio that I always got on the wall here. But it's absolutely gorgeous, and they do these as gifts.
Very impressive.
Yeah, so you got, Father's Day is coming up. You got people's birthdays, 4th of July party, whatever you want. They'll do these. They'll customize them so they can put, Marine Corps or Air Force symbols, whatever you want on them. They can put somebody's name. A friend of ours who's in the house is Jersey Jerry Foster. And look what he and Chuck got for me. This is when I came back from overseas.
That's
wonderful. That's where that came
great.
from.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so they presented that to me when I got back from overseas. So just, massive, beautiful American flag right there that was waiting for me. I just absolutely, that made my year. I got to tell you, it was great having that and carrying that thing home. But yeah, so they're one of the local businesses that help us out. There's a couple others. One I was briefly telling you about it before we went live is the Veterans Treatment Court, and this is a charity that's behind this initiative. So we love to highlight these folks. We've had Miss Carmen Reynolds on here several times talking about this initiative. But the Veterans Treatment Court is designed to help veterans if they find themselves in a tough spot. It's a partnership with Sheriff Johnson and the local law enforcement. If someone gets picked up, if they spend night in jail, whatever, if they, commit some type of crime and they're a veteran, then it identifies that. A lot of times those guys, not always, but sometimes they're suffering from PTSD or service-related conditions, and it gives them specific treatment for that purpose.
That's wonderful.
So really, really awesome stuff. What they're looking for is mentors, because when you have this person, they're serving whatever sentence, they're trying to get back to a good spot. Having mentors really helps. That's what they're looking for, is people that can help them reintegrate into the community. That's the email right there. If you're interested in getting involved with that, Veterans Treatment Court, the number 4, and then src@gmail.com. That's Carmen. She's running that. She's looking for those mentors. Or if you just want to get involved and learn more, it's a really, really great thing.
That's really great.
And then another friend of ours I think we both know is Andy DeMartin, him and his wife Lacey. They're amazing folks. They've helped us out with this show. And they've got that restaurant over there on the beach that is just rocking. I mean, it's
a good place.
It really is, and he's done. You've seen it, I think. He's done the whole reno and all that. It's got he's got all the artwork on the walls. I mean, the menu's different and
good food.
Good food, and then events like every night. That place is just full. I was going to say I knew you were there because somebody leaked this photo to me.
Oh my!
This was from New Year's. This was on New Year's Day. We were both at this. Andy DeMartin hosted the Pirates on the Panhandle, the local charity. I think
not one of my best looks.
That's great. No, it was awesome. You were out there with all of us. We were running and doing the plunge into the Gulf. It was awesome.
It was great fun. It was a wonderful day.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, the story behind this is that Andy wasn't initially going to have the restaurant open for New Year's. It was going to be completely, because he was trying to give his staff time off. And then Jersey Jerry came to him and he was like, hey Andy, we're trying to do this event. It's a big thing for the community. What do you say? And he said, well, I don't want to recall my staff, but I'll open the restaurant for you guys, at least for the outside.
Fantastic,
you can set up and you can have, I think we were cooking stew or something like that, right? And then,
Well, I was there for the very first one.
Oh, okay.
When it was freezing.
Yeah.
Absolutely freezing.
This one wasn't bad, because I was in there with you.
No, this was comfortable.
Yeah.
First one, it was frigid outside.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the wind and the freezing temperature.
Awesome. So that was a lot of fun. So, but I love Andy for doing that hosting. That looks like we got Matthews on here. He says, hi, Uncle John. It's your nephew, so that's great. Yeah, he said he's glad to see you live.
He follows me all the time.
Nice. Well, this is great. And then Tom is on here. He says, I love the new lighting. Really makes a difference. I'm trying, Tom. So I appreciate you guys. Tom provided some of the lighting here in the studio and stuff. So the whole point of this show, though, Father, is we love to highlight people in Navarre. We really believe as a group that it's the people that make Navarre special. I mean, the beach is great. The Polar Plunge is awesome. But what is the Polar Plunge without the people and the charity behind it? What is Navarre without the people behind it? And a lot of people don't know that, because you drive through Navarre and you just, tourists think, okay, I'm just here for the beach. And a lot of people just going to and from, right? They're going from Pensacola to Destin or back and forth. They may not realize just how incredible the locals are in Navarre. And so the whole point of this show is to highlight those folks.
Certainly.
Yeah, highlight the charities, the local businesses, the entrepreneurs, the military heroes. There's a couple on here. I love this graph that we put together. Robert Reyes from Stripes. I've had him on telling his story of how he created the restaurant. Michael Carter. I mean, how many kids do we have now in the NFL that are out there playing on Sundays? It's really amazing to see them at that top level. Incredible veterans. That's Rick Landreth. So the late Rick Landreth was one of the heroes that's portrayed in Black Hawk Down, the film.
Yes,
just
that's
amazing
right.
man, and just somebody that I look up to. His nephew's a friend of mine, Jake, and he was telling me the stories about him. Just incredible guys. You may not realize that. And then Kevin Lucas is just one of many entrepreneurs in a lot of industries. He's in the healthcare industry. We've had Elizabeth Kurz on here. She's into coaching and teaching businesses how to be able to rethink their constructs. I mean, just so many amazing people in Navarre. So that's why we do this, and we love doing it. That's why we're so excited to talk about you, because everybody knows Father Kelly. He is wanted everywhere. So they gave me this picture as well.
I can't hide now. You know.
Everybody. So you're going to have to tell us, though, where did this picture come from? I think I've got an idea, but
That took place, I think, one of our charity events.
yeah.
And they put me in jail,
Okay.
and they had to pay my bail.
Yeah.
And of course, it was for charity. So I think I brought in the money. Yeah, quite a bit of it. But I didn't mind sitting in jail, but I didn't have to sit in there for long,
Right.
because people sprung me from jail
So
pretty
they
quickly.
Had,
yes.
let me make sure I understand. So they had like a dollar figure that they had to reach in order
Absolutely,
to free you from,
that's
and you were
it.
stuck
Yeah,
in there.
and they reached it pretty
That's
fast.
awesome.
So I didn't sit in jail too long.
I love that. You know, I've been to St. Sylvester so many times for so many different things, you know, like I've been there for Mass, I've been there for services, but it's just completely open for charities to use, local groups. I've been there. One of my favorite events that y'all have done is you hosted the Sea Turtle Center over there on the
Yes,
beach
that's
for
right.
the soiree.
That's right.
That was beautiful. That was one of the most amazing events I've ever been
Well,
to.
we try to be open to the community.
Yeah.
We have the schools there. We have
Yeah.
graduations. We have concerts. We have some of the civic organizations come.
Right.
We have the Chamber of Commerce come.
The Fridays they do their
We
thing.
support the Girl Scouts, the Boy Scouts. You know, any charitable
Yeah. Bring
organization
that
is
picture up.
welcome to come to St. Sylvester, and we try to accommodate them, because
Yeah.
we do want to be a very important part of the Navarre community.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what's so beautiful about it is it's a place of spiritual growth. It's a place for people to come, but you're bringing in people from all over the community, you know, different belief systems and all that stuff, because, hey, we're doing if we're doing good work, this is the place to go
We
for.
just had the Navarre High School Concert Choir
Did you really?
on Monday evening. They do 2 concerts, one before Christmas and one in the spring, and that brings in many people from the community. And so we want to support these young men and women. They're
Yeah.
very, very talented. You know,
Yeah.
they're the best of the best in terms of the music program. And so I always tell everyone they're always welcome to come
Yeah.
to St. Sylvester.
Yeah, so
Of
I'd love
course.
we've got about 20, 30 people that are watching online. I'd love to hear your favorite memories from St. Sylvester, and especially with Father John Kelly. So if you get a second and you want to type that out, because I've already kind of shared mine. I've had several there that I'll never forget. And every time I drive by that place, I'm thinking about it. But I'd love to hear from people that are live, your thoughts on that if you've been there. But
Well-
yeah, go ahead.
Well, I've been here in Navarre for 21 years now.
I wanted to ask about the
Certainly.
history, because that's something I don't know. I mean, I've known you for a couple of years now. Obviously, been coming there for a couple of years. But
Well,
what's the history?
St. Sylvester started in 1979.
Okay.
The first parish was in Tiger Point,
Oh, really? Okay.
and it's not there anymore. The buildings aren't there because we sold the property in order to, front the resources we needed to build the new church and our new buildings. But 1979, it started in a living room of the first pastor, and then it moved to some smaller buildings, and then of course they procured the property and they built a small block church, very simple church, and then parish center, and of course now it's next to what used to be I think it's the Center for Sight, and there's a lot of apartments there now.
Right.
But that was the first location for the parish.
Okay. Oh, I didn't
But
know any of that.
I've been coming to Navarre for 40 years, because even though I was a priest even over in Tallahassee, all the priests used to come here for their conferences and retreats to the Holiday Inn.
Oh, really?
And the Holiday Inn was there until Hurricane Ivan took it away. So I've been coming here for 40 years, so I've seen
You've seen it
the
all
growth and
change.
change.
Yeah.
And then for 6 years, back in the 80s to the early 90s, I was a priest at St. Anne's in Gulf Breeze proper.
Okay.
And so Navarre used to be a stop between
Right.
Gulf Breeze and Fort Walton.
Yeah.
And now, of course, it's
I remember that.
a beautiful
So-
community.
Yeah, for me, I first came down to this area in the 90s. I grew up in Tennessee. So this was our vacation spot. We'd
Sure.
come down, and at the time, and people didn't even know Destin existed, in the 90s.
Right.
It was, because back then it was MapQuest, you didn't have all the online stuff. And it was just like, if it didn't show up, on a map or whatever, You had no
Well,
idea.
back then,
Yeah.
the beach was definitely Florida's best kept secret.
Right.
Back then, but I came in 2003,
Okay.
and we still were in the
Yeah.
old buildings
Yeah.
in Tiger Point. Of course, shortly we moved to the campus where we are now, which is just at the edge of Gulf Breeze and
Right.
Navarre.
Right in the Midway area.
And you know, I've spent half my priesthood here in Navarre. I've been a priest for 40 years. I've spent 20 of it here in Navarre, and it's been a wonderful experience.
Yeah,
The
I've
people
got
here
a
are
comment right
fantastic,
here.
and I guess one of the most beautiful memories
Yeah.
was when we came together and decided to build our new church
Yeah.
and our classroom building, and that took 3 or 4 years from
Yeah.
beginning until we consecrated the church, and so the people are so happy with our church, and
Yeah.
it's indicative of the growth in the in the community, because when I came in 2003, I'd say maybe we had about 500 families.
Yeah.
And now, you know, we have
Incredible.
well over 1,300 families.
Yeah.
So it's really grown as the Navarre Beach community has grown. So,
Right.
So it's
Right.
these people in this parish now are wonderful.
Yeah.
They're very community oriented. They're very much into serving not only the parish, but serving, you know, the poor and the needy in the community,
Yeah.
and getting involved in all the different organizations in the community. And of course, we have our winter visitors.
Yeah.
We've had more and more of them, and they keep up with us when they're back in the Midwest and up in the north and all that. But they come here and they love St. Sylvester. They love Navarre, and as you well know, some of them decide to come here and settle permanently.
Sure. Yeah.
Which is a beautiful thing. So
Yeah.
So the parish of St. Sylvester is
Yeah.
a wonderful parish.
Yeah.
Great people, and Navarre is a beautiful community. I'm very, very proud to be
Yeah.
a citizen of Navarre, and I'm very happy to be here on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got a couple comments that came through just to kind of circle back on this. So I've got one from Susan Mary Rose. She says, Father Kelly's mother says her favorite memory of St. Sylvester is when the new church was built. So, right what you were just talking about. And
that's
then
right.
I've got Chuck on here as well. Chuck Pullman, a mutual friend of ours as well. He says, thank you for what you do for the community and your support for St. Sylvester Church in the new city. Yeah, I mean, there's so much to unpack there. Is making that decision to build this new building, and then the location, like you just said. I mean, you're pulling from everywhere. You got from Navarre, from the Midway area, from Gulf Breeze.
Yeah, our parish runs on the west end from Oriole Beach Road, all the way to the east to the Santa Rosa County, Okaloosa County line.
Right.
So we have a pretty extensive parish along 98, and but I think most of the growth of the parish has come from Navarre.
Yeah.
Whereas it was more toward Tiger Point originally. Now we've really expanded the parish base into the Navarre community.
Yeah.
And, so it's really a wonderful thing.
Yeah. Matthew says, my favorite memory of St. Sylvester is even before the new church was built. It was the beginning when they did the groundbreaking of what would be the construction site of where the new church is.
That's right.
So 100%. Yeah. And it's these type of places that give the community its grounding, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
because if you think about it, if you're going to meet, and I remember we went through this, Father, is we started having our meetings as a group, and there was 10, 12 of us or whatever, so we could meet at Culver's or Andy D's or whatever. But once we started getting up to 30, 40 people showing up, it's like, where do you go? You know? Like I was like, there's no real place that can host that many folks in Navarre, and that's when several of our folks were like, well, let's talk to the church and see if they're willing.
I
So
mean, we're so blessed to have
need.
all these beautiful buildings and our facilities, and so that's why we want to be open and
it's
share them with
amazing.
everyone in the community.
Amazing. So you talked about the people too, the relationships that you've built over the years, and then just a couple of photos from that. So let me ask you, what are some of your favorite memories from being the priest as long as you have?
Well, one of them is right there
Yeah?
on the screen. It's that's our youth ministry,
Awesome.
middle school and high school, and we have some tremendous young people. I mean, they're really grounded in the faith, and their values and morals and their compass really come from, their faith, and they really live it out. And they're also very involved in the community. They visit many of the nursing homes, and during the holidays, and they meet with the residents there. They decorate their rooms and that type of thing. They entertain them. They're beautiful young men and women. And when I look around the world and the country, and I see what's happening with some of the young people, I'm so thankful, and I feel so blessed to have these young people. They're just fantastic.
It makes me think about my kids, Father. It makes me think about I've got 2 kids and a third on the way that we're excited about. So
congratulations!
Oh, thank you.
Wonderful.
I appreciate it. I think a lot about that because it changes you once you start to have kids. You see the world differently. Is now what world am I going to give to my kids, and what community am I going to give to my kids? Is it gonna be here? In the same way? Is it going to be different by the time that they're old enough to make their decisions? Are they going to want to stay? And then what values,
Absolutely.
are they gonna have? And how can I, give them the type of upbringing that they can be proud of?
Well, I think in our country, on the whole, which is built on Judeo-Christian values, many places, have seen erosion of that.
That's straight from it.
But I think here in this area, especially in Navarre, there's still that foundation of the Judeo-Christian tradition.
Right.
And that's why I think, a much more healthy community here. And these young men and women who go to the high school, in many cases, they support each other, even during the school day.
Yeah.
They come together and they look out for each other and that type of thing. So I'm very happy with them. I'm very proud of them.
That's what led us to fall in love with the areas. I remember my wife coming. She's from New Hampshire originally, so she didn't know a lot about the South, and I was introducing her to
I'm a Rhode Islander originally.
Okay, so I've been up there.
We're both New Englanders.
Yeah, she fell in love with this area because it reminded her of some of the coastal living and stuff that she grew up with. But what's kept us here and what made it home was, this is a great place to raise our kids. This is the type of place where we can trust the people that they're around, what they're going to grow up with. Doesn't mean everything's perfect, but it does mean
I hear that from many people who decide to settle here.
Right, exactly.
And a lot of military people who've been stationed here, have served here. When they retire, they want to come back here.
Yep.
Because they remember it as such a wonderful place.
Right. Yeah, it's something to be proud of. And that's, we've talked about our group a little bit, but that's what really propels us forward. Is people ask me all the time, why do you fight so hard for Navarre to become a city of its own? And it's because of that. It's because of the people. It's because I see the makings of a beautiful city already. I see the type of people who can grow up to lead it. And when people say, why should we have a town? Well, look, the culture's here. It's just having that type of center place for us to be able to legalize that and then get what we deserve. In
St Sylvester Parish, I know there are many people who support the incorporation of Navarre, and there's some people who don't. I understand that. I appreciate and respect that. But as we look around us, having been here for many, many years, having seen the growth and the change, Gulf Breeze is a city.
Right.
Fort Walton is a city.
Yeah.
Milton is a city.
Right.
I've also been as a priest for several years. I was in the rural community up by the I-10 route in Bonifay and Shipley. Those are cities, even though they're much smaller.
Right.
The people love their cities. They have pride in their cities. They want their cities to develop, and they also want to have some input into the development of their city. So I know people talk about the money issues and they talk about all the things that are disadvantages perhaps, but for me I think it's about pride in Navarre.
Right.
Loving your city.
Exactly.
Wanting the best for your city. And the northern counties, they're beautiful places as well, but they're different than the southern county. And I think that's why I think we need to have autonomy.
Yeah. Well, and the guys that are part of our group could tell you the first question we ask them is, do you love this community? Because if you don't, this is not the group for you.
Right.
Right. Every person that we've chosen and put into a leadership position in our group, it's been because they love the community. And once we see that, we say, okay, because that's what we're about, right? That's what we're about, is preserving that. What I love doing on this show when we get the chance is to be able to kind of deconstruct some of these ideas, because you were talking about how people are back and forth and things like that. What I try to do is get away from some of the vitriolic just anger, because people just get so spun up on social
Well,
media.
I don't say this from a partisan or political or ideological standpoint. I say it because as a citizen of Navarre, and I've been here for so many years, and I've come here even longer, I just think it's a beautiful place.
Right.
This Navarre and Navarre Beach. And I think if we love our community, if we support our community, if we have pride in our community, we need to look at the long-term growth of our community. In the short term, I think there might be some sacrifice that is necessary, but if you love something, you're willing to give more, you're willing to sacrifice. But in the long term, I think if we have, self-government of our community, if we have autonomy, I think the community is going to grow even more.
Absolutely.
But it will be on our terms, not on
So I wanted to kind of like break this down a little bit, because this has kind of the two sides of the issue. So on the top left there, you got the kind of what I'm talking about, the people in Navarre. We'll talk about the principles of self-government, because we just did a whole thing up at the county about that. But on the other side, I honestly think, Father, that there are a lot of people on the anti-side who love the community just as much as we do.
Absolutely. Yes.
Right? So they feel that love, but what they're concerned about is they don't necessarily trust us. They don't necessarily trust the direction that we're proposing, and they're worried about change. They're worried about somebody getting into this city, or us if they don't know us. Maybe these are out-of-towners or outsiders, transplants who don't care about it, that just want to ruin it, right? And take all my money. And that's what I hear a lot. It's kind of people operating off that assumption. And what I try to do with this show, as well as with everything else, is say, hey, let's come together. Let's bring together different people on this issue based upon our mutual love for the community.
Yeah, the people who are pro and con both love the community.
Exactly.
And are very, supportive of the community. The one thing that does concern me, and I don't say this again from a political, ideological point of view, is that not so much if one supports or opposes the incorporation of Navarre, but I was very sad to see that the county commission refused to put it to a referendum.
Right.
And because we elect the county commissioners to represent us.
Yeah.
We say government for, of, and by the people.
Right.
That's constitutional government. So it really made me wonder why they're, preventing, this referendum. I mean, let the people speak.
Yeah.
And if we're there, then I think we need to go in that direction. If we're not quite there, still the people should have their say. I think they should express their, so we know what the will of the people is in this case. So I hope they revisit that and they perhaps
I hope so too.
Change their mind.
Yeah, the things that I'm trying to do to get to that place is first kind of disentangle this, because I love American history and the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists. Like Alexander Hamilton and George Mason and James Madison. And I think that the anti-incorporation people have actually helped us out a lot, because when they find something wrong in the study that we've done, or the charter could be better, it gives us the chance to improve it. And it was the same thing with the Anti-Federalists who proposed the Bill of Rights and all of that, made the Constitution better, right? So I think there's a healthy place for that conversation to occur, where we can start to craft a city that represents all people in Navarre, right?
Absolutely.
Make sure that everybody's voice is heard, to facilitate that. But if we don't get a vote at any point in this process, then what are we doing? And that's what you're referencing, and just kind of cluing people in on what this was. This is the county commission up in Milton. Currently, the county scene is in Milton. That's where everybody goes for their decisions to be made on zoning and everything else if you're not in a city. So you have the Board of County Commissioners. None of these guys are from Navarre. And what we were going up there to do is to ask them, hey, can we have a vote on this issue in November? Just add it to the existing ballot. Just put it right there on the end and allow the people of Navarre to choose. And what they did was they put up a whole bunch of just obstacles, and I call it process fog, right? They just said, well, hey, we're going to want to review your study, even though that's not legally required for us to do that. We want to do that. We want you to go get petitions, but we're not going to tell you how much. I got an email from somebody on the beach, so we're going to take them out because of an email. Right? Like, just all over the map in terms of, like,
I think it's
goofy things.
I think it's fundamental and very clear that the people who represent us should live in the community.
Right.
Absolutely.
That was my argument.
Since this is very different here in
Yeah.
the south part of the county than the north part of the county.
Yeah.
But I think what you said originally, I experienced this as a priest in a parish in a leadership position, is that people find change difficult.
Yes. Yeah.
And even though they may know deep down that change is inevitable, because having come here for many years, Navarre has changed dramatically. It continues to change, and it will change in the future. We want it to change for the better, and that means, we need to have representatives who know this community, who live in the community, who love the community, and who really want to support the community. Not to say that living somewhere else is a bad thing,
Right.
but I really think this is a time where we need our own leaders who live here and who know the people and want the best for the community long term. Example, if I had listened to some people when we were down in Tiger Point, 20 plus years ago, they would have told me, Father, it's fine. The church we have here is fine. We need to stay here.
Right.
We don't want to go down. We don't want a bigger church. We think where we are is just fine. I said, well, I think a leader says, no, this is where we need to go. And although it may be difficult, you have to try to bring people along. And I think that's what you're trying to do. And we appreciate that very much.
The only change we're trying to implement is in the spirit of the existing community.
Absolutely.
Right? Is what we're trying to do is say, hey, this culture is rapidly becoming overdeveloped, right? We're running out of space. People are on top of each other. We don't have the infrastructure we need to support the people, traffic and so let's do things that help the existing community and make the growth smart, right? It's not, hey, let's come in here and completely transform or radicalize this community. No, it's actually support it. And I think the challenge that people have is they look at Destin and they say, oh, I don't want that to happen here. But I look at the population density of Navarre, and it's rapidly increasing to that point already.
Absolutely.
We're more dense than Gulf Breeze is now, and they're incorporated.
The growth and development is going to happen. The question is, what kind of growth and development?
Exactly. Yeah.
Quite honestly, on a personal basis, I don't think we need any more storage facilities.
Right.
I don't think we need any more RV parks. I don't think we need any more car washes. I don't think we need more fast food restaurants.
Right.
So I think we need to have a smarter growth.
It comes back to folks like this, right? Like, I would love to see something that kind of brings together some of the history of Navarre, so that people who move here understand it. They come to it and they can read. Because if I go to St. Augustine or Gulf Breeze or almost any incorporated place, even Milton now, you drive up through the downtown and you drive through their streets, they have flags, in honor of their heroes from Milton. Yes. And I'm like, that's what we need, is simply that. And what folks a lot of times will say, well, you don't need a city to do that. A charity can do it, or Chamber of Commerce can do it. What the city does is it brings some of the funding to make that possible. We've studied this for years now, and the best cities work closely with the business sector to be able to say, hey, there's a grant for that. We can pull some state funding for that. We can do some interlocal agreement, pull some of that funding, and then in partnership with the chamber, you've got an event.
Well,
right?
I mean, we have a unique opportunity here. We have something so beautiful that the northern part of the county doesn't have. I mean, they have the rivers up there, which are wonderful, but we have the Gulf Coast.
Right.
And most people come here to the south part of the county to vacation. Most people, I don't think, are vacationing up in the north.
Yeah.
They're here.
Yeah.
And I think, we that should give us a tremendous sense of pride, and that should spur us on, to want to help the community to grow more.
Right.
Yep.
That's a huge part of it is with tourism, is we want the city to be able to save as much of that here for Navarre to spend on beach renourishment and everything else, and make sure the tourists are contributing. I remember coming down here from Memphis, and we would stay, in Alabama or something. And it's like, if I stay in Greenville or whatever, I traveled to Navarre, I just went to the community, enjoyed it on the beach, and didn't pay a dime and then left, right? And I'm like,
Sure.
I probably should contribute some kind of way, right? Like,
Absolutely,
this would
yeah.
just ensure that.
Well, I remember
Yeah.
that Navarre Beach was a very quiet place. Even now, it's
Yeah.
still quiet, even though there's a lot more
Yeah.
development. It's a beautiful family beach.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful place for people,
Yeah.
young and
Yeah,
old, to vacation.
Absolutely. So the last couple things I have on this, and then we'll look at some comments and stuff, is I just wanted to kind of end on this American principle of self-government, because this is a sticking point. Is I don't know how much flack you've taken in the priesthood. You'll have to tell me, but I know I deal with a lot doing the nonprofit, and I have to just let it roll off my shoulders, right? Because I know what's in my heart, which is this principle of self-government, of bringing the community together. Because people ask me, well, Wes, when has more government ever worked? And I'm like, the Constitution, right? Like
Right.
the Founding Fathers. When it's done in the spirit of the people, it makes sense. The other part is we've kind of gotten to a place in our society now where everyone says that anybody who works in government has to be terrible. It's completely useless. We don't know. And I know why they say that, because they're very frustrated at the national scene. But don't forget that we have airmen, we've got Navy seamen, we've got Army soldiers, we've got, law enforcement, teachers,
we have
all
people
these
of
people.
great integrity here.
Yeah, who are
definitely, yes.
paid by your taxes, right?
Absolutely.
Paid by the government, doing great work. And a lot of those people are in Navarre. They retire in Navarre and all that. So the question...
And these are people of faith, too.
Absolutely. So then the question becomes, okay, how do you actually make it work in 2024? How do you make American government work in 2024 and not be this corrupt establishment? And that's where it comes down to limiting it, focusing it, making sure it's subservient to the people. That is why our group, and I know Jersey Jerry and Chuck and Nancy could tell you how much patience they've had to have with me, because we've been very slow at this issue. Let's do a survey. All the meetings we've done at St. Sylvester, it's for us to learn.
Certainly.
Tell me, okay, they don't like red light cameras. Cool, take it out of the study. They do want infrastructure. Put that in the study. They don't want a new law enforcement entity. Okay, take that out. It's been a lot of fine-tuning and listening to people.
You certainly have not been rash in approaching this. Yeah.
Right, because I want to hear the other side. I want to hear the people on the other side. I want to hear their concerns. They're worried about taxes. Okay, let's get the taxes as low as possible. Let's use as many other sources of revenue, because they're concerned about that. Families are struggling. I know, I get it. My family's the same way, just trying to make ends meet. They're worried about change. Okay, let's speak to those concerns.
Mm-hmm.
Let's show them how much things are changing now, where things are headed, and if they don't incorporate, where it's going to go. And let's stand up for the people of Navarre. And that's what we were doing here, Father, is we were standing up, and I said it in this speech, for our right to vote, but also for the anti-folks' right to vote.
Well, again, I think that's the issue here, and I think it's a more important issue, is that the people, pro and con, should have an opportunity
To speak.
to speak their mind in a referendum, and that's why I do hope they revisit
We'll
it
figure
and
it out.
reconsider it.
Yeah, we'll figure out some kind of way. I mean, there's a lot of different tools. The process is very complicated and vague and stuff like that, but it really comes down to, we're not going to give up on the issue. We're going to figure out some way to move forward with it, work with the state representatives and all that
Certainly.
stuff. And
Certainly.
like you were saying, we've been, we haven't been rash. We've been very methodical. We're going to continue that. But I'm having fun doing it on a day-to-day basis. I love it because a lot of time, you're talking about your passion for the church and for the people, the relationships that I've built with the folks in our team, and just being able to demonstrate, here's how you take a stand and how you treat people with respect. And I was so proud of our team up there. Maybe this is how you feel, you have to tell me in the church, but watching Jerry Foster and Nancy Forrester and all these other people get up there, Alex Kukulis and so many other of my friends, and just being very respectful, but very strong, confident in sharing their conviction.
Well,
and
I think
passion.
these are people that live
so
here.
cool.
They love the community. They support the community.
Yeah.
And I love St. Sylvester
Yeah.
Parish. I love the people there, and I love this community. And I'll do whatever.
Yeah.
Whether it becomes a city or not, I'm going to do whatever I can
Exactly.
to support
That's where we
the Navarre community. I personally, as a citizen, a proud
Yeah.
citizen, I hope that while I'm still the parish priest at St. Sylvester,
It happens.
I'm hoping I can say that St. Sylvester is in the city of Navarre and city of Navarre Beach. I really hope that that does happen.
But see, what gives me the most joy is the process of getting there. That's what gives me the joy of, you know, I talked to Bobby. I was showing you clips of Bobby Burkett on here before, of how do you be a Christian in 2024 and be involved in politics? Because if you just kind of let people run over you and you just say, I'm just going to be nice or whatever, like they'll blow right by you. But if you come out screaming and you're a jerk and you're throwing stuff, and you know, that's not how Jesus acted either. So it's finding that middle ground of, I'm going to be polite, I'm going to be respectful, but I'm going to be convicted, passionate, and confident in what I stand for because I know it's right. And finding that sweet spot to say, listen, you know, when it comes to turning the other cheek, right? You can say what you want, you can call me whatever names that you want, but you're not going to deter me from my goal because I've prayed on it, I believe in it, I know it's right. And seeing that not just from me, but from the members of our team. I was just so proud of them, you know, because they were loving on the commissioners, the same commissioners who were shutting down the right to vote, right? And we knew they were going to do that. We knew that. We still said, hey, we're going to treat you with respect because of the offices that you hold. We're going to disagree with you, not happy about what you're going to do. We're going to share our heart, and we're going to appeal to the citizens to raise them. So that's the great part.
A good politician, that sounds like an oxymoron, but I think people involved in politics can express their faith and their values and conviction through what they do, how they treat people, and how they represent people. That's what we need.
Without being weak.
And we can have that here.
Yes.
And you know, presenting the truth. In love and compassion and understanding. Not in any violent or hateful way. With civility. Certainly.
And we can look to Christ for that, right? Because
Absolutely.
that's exactly what he did.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So let's look at some comments here. We'll close out. Let's see. I read off a couple of these. Let's see here. One is on here. Diane Smith is watching now. She's a friend of mine. She says, I love our St. Sylvester's and Father John. That's awesome. Talked about that one. Here's another one. Julianne Simmers' favorite memory of St. Sylvester Church was serving as the lead on the Arts and Environment Committee, especially many other committees with her husband, Oliver. So a lot of delegation is what I'm hearing, empowering.
Of course,
I believe it. Yeah, can't church that big. You got to have that, I'm sure. Absolutely. Let's see. Chuck is on here. He said his favorite memory of Father Kelly is when his mother died in 2019, and Father knowing that my mother and father were original founders of the church. And Father came to Gulf Breeze at St. Anne's to say the Mass. That's awesome. That's beautiful.
It's many years ago now, yes.
Yeah, there's some... Wow. Yeah, there's some memories that happen in that church that really change people's trajectory, I would think, especially in wrestling with loss and all of that stuff.
Absolutely.
I've been through that in my family as well. And the power that you have to speak into people's lives in those type of services, I know you know that's God-given and a very important thing. Chuck says it. He says, I'll never forget what Father Kelly and St. Sylvester did for our family. Well, thank you so much, Father, for being there. This was exactly what I hoped it would be.
It's a pleasure to be with you. I'm honored and call upon me and St. Sylvester's anytime we can help you and the community. We're glad to do so.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Love you so
Very
much.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. So, as you've seen, this is our show just to celebrate folks like Father Kelly and incredible institutions in our community. We're live every Thursday night, so you can sign up for updates on preservativeR.com. We're obviously on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube Live. Let us know who you'd like to see on the show. We're happy to support them, especially if it's going to be great episodes like this. But y'all have a blessed night, and we'll see you next Thursday. Goodbye.